nervous, I guess. The fourth type of personal draw deck.
Draw deck.
Only to trigger action cards. For major arcana. That will... I looked up at the camera and his head is now right there. You nailed it. Hi, I'm Rick. Great Northern Games Non-Employee of the Year 4 years running. And I'm here to teach you how to play Lucky's Misadventures, Episode 42, Lost in Oddtopia. A deck building game for 2 to 4 players that plays in 45 to 60 minutes. First, let's take a look at all the cards in the game and how they work. Ally cards are the first type of card. They have a name at the top of the card. They have a faction symbol in the top left corner for either Tinkerers, Wickeds, or Oddlings, along with a number which gives you power for winning challenges or a number of buy points for buying cards. They may have a purchase cost in the top right corner of the card. A victory point value may be found at the bottom right. And finally, a card action that may be used if the card is triggered by the appropriate fate card, which will be discussed later. The second type of card is junk. These junk cards have a gear symbol in the top left, as well as a title, a purchase cost, and a victory point value. The third type of card are machine cards. These have a gold border with the machine symbol, as well as a title, a victory point value, and a card action that may be used. Instead of a purchase cost in the top right corner, machine cards show the 2 required junk cards that must be played to build a machine. The fourth type of card is the Feed the Toad card. This is simply a card to show who the first player is each round. Finally, the last type of card are the fate cards. The major arcana have a card title, a fate card value, and the text for modifying the rules for that game round. These also have a Pass the Feed the Toad card symbol in the top right. The minor arcana have only the cups, sword, and wands art with a fate card value. The wands also have a Pass the Toad card symbol. A quick word about deck building games. In a deck building game, each player has their own personal draw deck. Whenever a player needs to draw cards, they will do so from their own deck. As players play cards and acquire new ones, these will be added to a personal discard pile. If at any time a player needs to draw a card and their deck is depleted, they should immediately shuffle their discard pile into a new draw deck and continue drawing. Also, at any time a player must trash a card, this card should be removed from the game. Now let's set up the game. Each player starts the game with 10 sidekick cards. These are ally cards with a white border and a green name box. They have no purchase cost and are worth no victory points at the end of the game, except for Lucky, who is worth a whopping 10 points. Don't lose Lucky. Each player will get 1 Lucky card, 3 Tin Men, 3 Lions, and 3 Scarecrows. Each Scarecrow should have a different trigger symbol for their card action. Next, we will take all of the hireling cards. The hirelings also have a white border, but have a white name box, and consist of the Clockmakers, the Winged Monkeys, and the White Rabbits. Each player will simultaneously choose 1 hireling card to add to their 10 sidekick cards. These 11 cards form each player's starting deck. The players should shuffle these 11 cards to form their personal draw deck. Shuffle the remaining hireling cards into a draw deck and place it face down. Then reveal the top card. The remaining ally cards are called Maven cards and have a black name box. They should be shuffled to form a Maven draw deck. Reveal the top 5 cards to form a Maven bank. And for ease of play, arrange them by purchase cost. The junk cards are shuffled and form a separate draw deck. Reveal the top 4 cards to form a junk bank and again arrange them by cost, from lowest to highest for ease of play. Set the machine cards aside in one face-up pile. All of the machine cards are always available to build. Next, the fate cards are shuffled together and placed face down to form a new draw deck. Remove the top 3 cards of this deck. It is important to leave these face down so they are not revealed. Finally, give the Feed the Toad card to the player who most recently ate mushrooms. After game setup is complete, this is what your table should look like. Now we are ready to play. Lucky's Misadventures is played in a series of rounds, up to 14 total rounds. Each player should draw a hand of 5 cards, and then begin the first round. Each round consists of 5 phases. The first phase is the Feed the Toad phase. Reveal 3 new fate cards from the fate deck. Discard fate cards from any previous round face down. If any fate cards have the pass the Feed the Toad symbol, pass the Feed the Toad card 1 player clockwise for each revealed. That player becomes the first player for that round. Review the drawn fate cards for major arcana that will change the rules for that round. Follow any instructions in the text box. The minor arcana will only be used to trigger ally cards for that round. Phase 2 is the play and reveal phase. Each player must select 3 cards from their hand and place them face down. Once all players are ready, the 3 cards are revealed and are now in play. The 2 unplayed cards are kept in the player's hand. The third phase is the action phase. Each player, beginning with the first player, may perform any of the available actions and in any order they choose. They can take a card action, buy a card, build a machine, or finally, escape Oddtopia and instantly win the game. In this example, I want to buy a card. My Scarecrow gives me 1 buy point, and because of the in-play sword card, gives me a 2nd buy point. This allows me to buy the Clockwork Angel for 2 buy points. Anytime I acquire a card, I immediately replace it from the deck. Now, the Collector has an action. Normally, I would not be able to use this action because there is no wand in play to trigger the card. However, the Magician allows the card to be triggered. That card allows me to take a Maven card from the bank and add it to my discard. Here's another example with different in-play cards. This round, I'm going to build a machine. To do that, I trash my Clockwork Gizmo and Reactor Pump junk cards, and take the machine card with the matching junk symbols. I get to immediately put that into play and use the action on the machine card. Tiny Tin allows me to acquire the lowest cost junk card. I'll then reveal a new junk card. In this final example, I'll show you one of the instant win conditions. I have put the 3 sisters in play: Vanity, Greed, and Despair. On my turn, they will cast a spell on me and Lucky, sending us home, and we will instantly win the game. After the action phase comes the challenge phase. First, the players add up their Tinker power from their in-play cards. The player with the highest total wins the Tinker challenge and gets to acquire 1 junk card from the bank. The value of the card acquired is determined by the margin of victory. If 2 or more players tie for the highest total and have at least 1 Tinker power, each tied player acquires the lowest cost card in the respective bank. If a player with the highest total power wins by 1 power, that player can acquire any card up to a value of 5 buy points. Finally, if the player wins by 2 or more Tinker power, he has crushed it and may acquire 1 junk card of any value. Next, the Wicked Challenge occurs the same way, except that players add up their total Wicked power points, and the winner gets to acquire a card from the Maven Bank. They use the same margin of victory rules to determine the value of the acquired card. Finally is the discard and draw phase. During this last phase of each round, the players discard any in-play cards. They may also discard any number of unplayed cards from their hand. Then each player draws, so they have 5 cards total in their hand. Then the players will start a new round. After 7 rounds, the Fate deck will be depleted. Shuffle the discarded Fate cards to form a new draw deck, and again discard the top 3 face down. After the Fate deck is depleted again, finish the final round. If no one has escaped Oddtopia, each player should add up the victory points in their personal decks. The player with the most points becomes the great and powerful Wizard of Oddtopia and wins the game. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to feed the toad.